everyone, I'm Carol Ann Riddell. All aboard for Arts in the City. We are coming to you from one of our festive favorites, the New York Botanical Gardens Holiday Train Show, with more than 190 scaled iconic buildings. We will show you around in just a bit, but first, a heartwarming story about a program bringing art to children and public schools that need it. Here's Susan John.
With every brushstroke, these young artists find empowerment in painting.
I learned to speak louder and more confidently. I even gained more confidence as a whole.
It's very rewarding, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment.
The power of creating is palpable at Creative Artworks, a nonprofit youth development organization that uses art to help young people develop life skills.
Everything that we do is designed to equip New York City youth with essential tools and skills that they would perhaps lack access to otherwise.
Creative Artworks helps underserved youth, many struggling with homelessness, food insecurity, language barriers, and some who have difficulties with the law.
Over the past 36 years, Creative Artworks has integrated learning arts education in schools as well as in the community with its flagship public art youth employment program. In addition to artistic and life skills, youth apprentices gain work experience as they're guided by professional teaching artists to create large murals for public and private clients.
Our teaching artist team helps to develop a concept sketch, pulling all of these ideas together so that really the youth apprentices all have a component of the contribution to it. And then there is the ever important client pitch. Our youth apprentices have to prepare a presentation, practice their public speaking, describe to our team of stakeholders what it is they've envisioned, and get their approval.
Oil painter Will Watson worked as a teaching artist on the mural in Montefiore Park in Hamilton Heights this past summer.
What you see when you look at that mural is a good percent of all of their love and passion for what we were trying to create.
Teaching artist Ryan Davis led the project on the Bronx Family Courthouse mural.
It's really exciting to just kind of dream and imagine. And so I think there's a space for artists to engage with youth in that unique imaginary space that's humbling for me.
And reaction to the murals is humbling for all.
Kids were coming up to the mural and saying oh wow, that's really nice and that's really colorful and stuff like that. And I like how the adults were saying that we were really impacting the community.
For more info on this and all Creative Artworks has to offer, visit creativeartworks.org. For Arts in the City, I'm Susan Junn.
The New York Botanical Gardens celebrates the season with its 31st annual Holiday Train Show, transforming the conservatory into a miniature wonderland featuring more than 190 New York landmarks. More than 25 G-scale trains and trolleys travel along nearly a half-mile of track, passing by some of New York's most iconic buildings, historical sites, and bridges. The replicas were created by applied imagination and are constructed from natural materials such as leaves, seeds, twigs, bark, acorns, cinnamon sticks, and pine cone scales. The Holiday Train Show is open now through January 16th. For more information, check out their website at nybg.org. Believe it or not, there is only one bilingual children's theater in the U.S., and it happens to be right here in New York City on the Lower East Side. Our Adam Miller paid a visit to Teatro, where Latinx culture takes center stage.
Our Latinx culture is so rich in myth and imagery and stories, and why not use our wonderful things like puppets to tell the stories.
Dr. Manuel Moran, founder of Teatro, first fell in love with puppetry and children's theater as a young boy in Puerto Rico.
I was a kid who was exposed to theater when I was in 3rd grade. A group like mine went to my school and presented a show, and I was mesmerized. The show had puppets, they had live actors, musicians, sets, and so it was magical. And I went to my mom and said, "Mom, this is what I want to do."
And that is exactly what he did. Manuel established Teatro Sea's Children's Theater in Puerto Rico in 1985, then opened the New York outpost in 1993. Now, they are the country's only bilingual theater for kids.
The name Sea is a verb in Spanish, and it means to be. It's an invitation to be. And that's really, why I named the company Sea.
For Manuel, Teatro Sea couldn't only be a theater for kids. Being part of New York's Latino community is where Sea realized they needed to be, to tell stories that are inclusive and representative of and steeped in Latinx culture.
It's really to empower the community, especially young kids and young adults, through theater and the arts. Being a Latina or Latino is not just one thing. We are many countries, and within each country there's many differences as well. So we celebrate all that diversity. All that is welcome here. All those accents, all those different words, and of course, and it's mixed with the American culture, our new reality, with the New York culture. We have so many beautiful legends and myths, and we also Latinize children's tales. We have a Mexican Pinocchio, and we talk about the story of Pinocchio, but we talk about immigration. I will fix your sombrerito y listo, voila! Things like that, we change the story a little bit, like a tango dancing Cinderella. She's the best tango dancer of the kingdom. It's not that she's just pretty and this, no, it's just that she has an amazing skill, and we talk about tango, we talk about Argentinian music and cultures. The puppet has an amazing power of communicating and connecting with us, not only with the kids, but with everyone.
And in order to deepen the connection, they're adapting their stories from the stage to the page with a series of bilingual books for children. There's the Sea Kids Network on YouTube. They also host Latin arts and culture festivals like Borimix and Arte para mi Gente. There's also a cabaret night with Punta Sea and the International Puppet Fringe Festival dedicated to the art of puppetry.
For many years, before I perform, because I also am an actor, I'm a puppeteer, I would look through the curtain to see the kids' excitement, and I would always remember how excited I was as a kid. At the end of the show, I see how kids clap, how the questions, because we always have question and answers, and that illusion that I feel very proud, because I am thinking that they are experiencing, or I'm helping them experience something like I experienced as a kid.
And coming this month, you can catch Teatro Sea's new production of Sueño de Reyes, a retelling of the biblical story of the Three Kings, but with a Latine twist. For more information on their upcoming performances, you can check out their website at teatrosea.org. For Arts in the City, I'm Adam Miller.
Do you love New York, or do you love-ish New York? There is a difference, according to author Ali Solomon. Here is our lovable-ish Barry Mitchell.
New York City, one big theme park of fun.
Scabby the Rat, he's the mascot of labor unions and disputes, but I thought he would be great fronting the Thanksgiving Day parade. He's already inflated and he already terrifies children.
We're at the Society of Illustrators on East 63rd Street, speaking with author-cartoonist Ali Solomon about her new book, I Love-ish New York City, Tales of City Life.
Published by Chronicle Books. It's a collection of humorous essays, cartoons, and comics, all about the things that we love and love to hate about New York City.
All of it written and illustrated by Ali Solomon.
If I were to define love-ish, it would be where you love someone or something and you also realize all of its many flaws and tragedies. I like knowing that there are people living all around me but I don't necessarily want to know who they are or what their names are or get their packages.
You write, anywhere that isn't New York is a, quote, stupid, fake, non-city. It's not going to help you sell books to the rest of America.
I love-ish stupid, fake, non-New York cities. My humor has a lot of snark, and I love elevating things beyond the normal into the absurd.
Even though you're from Queens, you seem to know a lot about Manhattan.
Well, I lived in Manhattan for 6 years, and I teach at a school in Manhattan, so I'm here every single day. Right after college, I moved to Manhattan because I was going to go to grad school, and it seemed like the place to be. And so we got the first apartment we could find that had a floor.
When you say we, who do you mean?
I moved with 2 friends from college, and the first few apartments we looked at did not have floors. Like, there was no floor. You could see below, and they kept promising us the floor would be there when we moved in. And my mom was like, no, an apartment must have a floor.
My favorite cartoon in your book is the half rat, half cockroach, the optical illusion.
You can't tell if it's a mouse or a cockroach. If you look hard enough, you realize it's actually both.
It is both.
It's always both. This was my Bible growing up.
Ali autographed a copy of I Love-ish New York City for the Society of Illustrators Library, a childhood dream realized.
That wall is like a history of my childhood. I had all the Peanuts collections so I could study how they were done. I had the history of American newspaper cartoons because that's what I wanted to do for so long.
New Yorker magazine publishes your cartoons. How many do you have to submit before they publish one?
So I started submitting to the New Yorker in 2018, and it took a couple of rounds of submitting about 10 cartoons a week, and they bought one.
Like her more recent New Yorker cartoon. For Mother's Day, my mom would like the activism of her youth to not be for nothing. Ooh. I get the sense you really love, not love-ish, I get the sense you really love New York.
I really do. It's sort of like a starting place for all this magic. It's open 24/7. You can walk down one block and run into 5 delis and all of them are good. There's always something happening, even if you don't want it to happen. Sometimes it's a shared indignity, sometimes it's a shared, oh my gosh, did you just see that? They're filming Law and Order around the corner. You get to live near these monuments. You get to live near a museum that people travel from all around the world to go visit. You get to see that show with the original cast right when it comes out, and nothing is better than that. And so you have the very small apartment up a 6th floor walk up with the bugs. Only in New York do you get to use your really fancy, expensive shoe to kill it.
Ali Solomon, thanks so much. I love-ish your book.
Thank you so much for having me.
And a big thank you to the Society of Illustrators, 128 East 63rd Street. Check out their website for a schedule of sketch nights and other events. I'm Barry Mitchell. You're watching Arts in the City.
Now to a groundbreaking exhibition at Queensborough Community College featuring the art of the Yaka and Suku peoples from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Our CUNY intern, Humla Kalipa, got a first look.
The art of the Yaka and the Suku, this show here, is a culmination really of almost 50 years of work on the part of the late Dr. Arthur Bourgeois.
Dr. Arthur Bourgeois was the preeminent expert on the Yaka and Suku, and this show represents his lifetime of study amongst the Yaka and Suku peoples.
He went to Congo in 1976 and lived among the Yaka and Suku peoples. There's about 300,000 Yaka and 80,000 Suku. The Yaka are arranged in roughly 40 chiefdoms and the Suku in roughly 8. And while they're different people ethnically, they're close enough in almost everything they do that we could speak about them as one monolith.
Dr. Scott Rodolitz, the curator of the exhibit, explained how the Kambamzia mask symbolized a hunter's great hunting skills and played an important role in initiation ceremonies.
Very often, many of the masks reference hunting, animals important in hunting, antelopes. One of the most important masks, a very small mask in the back there that has almost, it really has almost no face. It's just it's called a kambamzia, and it has a little headdress that goes up in the back like that, was probably the most important mask to the Yaka. And it's the least interesting to us of any of them, but it referenced the antelope, a very specific type, the dicker antelope, little tiny antelope that's incredibly fast. Catching one of them showed that you were a fantastic hunter.
The exhibit also features extensive field notes, photos, and videos taken by Dr. Bourgeois, which documents the two tribes' way of living and culture.
His field notes are extensive. They cover every facet of Yaka life, from basket making to hunting to initiation masks and initiation dances to the use of diviners making charm figures, but from the very ordinary daily life all the way up to the most sacred objects and things in their cultures.
Dr. Christine Mangino, president of Queensborough Community College, says that having an exhibit like this on campus provides students with a unique learning experience.
I think it's about having our students using this as a learning lab. So we have 3 different art degree programs with us. We have art and design, we have art history, and then we have museum and gallery studies. So it's having students use the gallery as a lab and being able to not just do internships, but also connecting what they're learning in the curriculum in their classes with the programming that happens here.
And as much as this exhibit is to be a tool for education, Dr. Rodolitz hopes that visitors take away much more.
If people walk away from this show gaining an appreciation for a culture incredibly far away from them and totally alien to them in many ways, it's a tremendous success.
For more information on the Queensborough Community College Art Gallery, please visit their website at artgallery.qcc.cuny.edu. For Arts in the City, I'm Pumla Kalipa.
Next up, our Elizabeth Kovitz sat down with Gina Volpe, the guitarist from the legendary New York punk band, the Lunatics. They chatted all about staying creative.
That is the eternal question, painting or music. In some ways, to me, they're a little bit the same. When I write music, I approach it like painting a painting. And so, in a way, I think the music is a little bit of an extension of my paintings. Echo of a world. Certainly they're 2 different mediums, but in a way they're very similar to me in how I go about making them.
While still in her first year of art school, on her way to being a painter, a different dream came true when Volpe's New York City punk band Lunatics was signed by a major label.
Lunatics! My name is Gina, and I play guitar.
Cindy, guitar. Theo, I sing. Squid, I play bass.
When we decided we were going to start touring, which was super exciting, I took a leave of absence for a year off of school because I was so sure I would be back. I was like, I'll be back. I'm just going to go on tour, play a bunch of music, and I'm going to come back and make art. That never happened. I never went back because I just continued touring. But I always continued making art throughout.
Music and painting seem so different, but for Volpe, it's all about the similarities.
When painting, you have an empty canvas, you start with a sketch, and then you put an undercoat on it, and maybe you start with 1 or 2 colors, and then you start fleshing it out with more colors. And with songwriting, I feel it's the same. I have an idea, maybe a lyric, maybe a melody. Then I start fleshing it out with a guitar part and harmonies, and I just keep building and building and building. And then when we get into the studio, that's when you really get to add all the backing vocals and the little percussive sounds and the cool production layers. A new life. I find it similar to making visual art. It's a very magical and satisfying process, both of them.
What's it like to be on stage, guitar in hand, fans howling?
When you're on stage, it's an incredible feeling. It feels like a force of nature, like you have this power. You do kind of feel like a superhero a little bit, that you have this team of people, of your sisters, your friends, your family, the people you love the most, and you're all in sync, and you're tight as a machine, and you're just like, Gah! And it's so cool and fun and amazing and powerful.
Post-pandemic, Lunachicks is once again touring, but Volpe still makes time for painting, solo recording projects, and her three-piece band, Bantam.
It means small, diminutive, but combative, tough, strong, bantamweight as a boxer. We were only a three-piece band, but we were loud.
You've had an incredible career, but people are always excited about artists under 30, artists too young to buy a drink. Let's talk about what it is to be an artist who's not 20 anymore.
I always say that creativity doesn't expire. It's not that you get to a certain age and then you just stop being an artist. That's crazy. If anything, I feel the older I get, the more I'm producing, the more creative I'm being. You know, as a culture, we're obsessed with youth and what's new and what's hot and what's, you know, the next big thing. But there are millions and millions of artists out there who are creating until their very last breath, and I will be one of them.
We end today's show with a little sparkle. The holidays are here, and for a lot of us, that means it is time to break out the bubbly. So we got a lesson in champagne from one of our city's experts. It is the sound of celebration. Champagne is a festive holiday drink, but how much do you really know about those bubbles in your glass? If you're anything like me, not as much as you might think. We sat down with Hervé Rousseau, the owner of Flute. This midtown lounge was once a speakeasy dating back to the 1920s. But since 1997, when Flute opened, champagne has had a starring role. Hervé explained one of the first things to understand is champagne versus sparkling wine. And that comes down to geography.
Champagne only comes from the region of Champagne.
So that explains the difference between sparkling wine and champagne.
Yes.
It's all based in where it's located.
Absolutely.
And how does champagne get its bubbles? Here's the science portion of our lesson.
Aha! So champagne is a very natural product. It has two fermentations. The second fermentation takes place in the bottle, and it's basically the yeast that is eating the sugar and transforms it into bubbles.
Champagne has a long and storied history, including the Benedictine monk Dom Pérignon, born in 1638. Yep, the same name as the famous champagne itself. And the popularity of the bubbly beverage has endured. According to the Champagne Bureau, part of the trade association representing the industry, more than 34 million bottles were shipped to the U.S. in 2021. That's a year-over-year increase of 63.9% as COVID restrictions eased. Getting back to Champagne 101 at Flute, next up, from start to sip.
Always 6 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Why?
I don't know why. I don't know, but it's like that, 6 turns. So then what you do, you see I'm keeping my thumb on the bottle because the pressure is tremendous. So then, you know, you're gonna turn the cork and you don't want to be too loud, but I like it when it's a little loud. Why not, okay? Also, how to see the age of the champagne. The cork is gonna give it away. The tighter the cork, the more aged the champagne.
Really?
So that's aged for at least 6 years. And then you want to hold it by the stem when you drink it. So if one of your guests is not, you just say, hold it by the stem because it's going to warm up the wine. Again, it's all about pleasure. There's nothing else
think of
here
that.
about.
So I know more of that. Hold it like this.
Yes.
Got it. There we go. That is our show for today. Thanks so much for watching. A quick reminder to check us out on social media. We'd love to hear from you. Happy holidays. I'm Carol Ann Riddell. See you next time on Arts in the City.